Trade talks are heating up. Insider reveals Wild Devils trade could be incoming. Regarding Dougie Hamilton, what it could return is all that more intriguing. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you, as always, bringing you the latest, greatest Devils content, as always, as we do on this channel. But first, before we get into the program, I want you to be a subscriber to the channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Help us get to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. 1K. That's just got a different ring to it. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's get into the program. Now today, I want to continue the conversation around something that I did a couple weeks ago, or last week, which was the trade talks that have kind of been surrounding Dougie Hamilton. You're starting to hear his name more and more, and I think if you ask somebody at the beginning of the calendar year, per se, they would have laughed in your face. What are you talking about, Dougie getting traded? What does that even mean? And I think now, as you're starting to get into the summer, you're starting to see how cap space is unfolding and moves are making. You're coming to the realization that his $9 million cap hit could be on the move, and it could be a necessity for the team to move in that scenario. And this is really where the headline comes from. I know his name has been out there a little bit, and I've heard the Devils have been talking to a couple teams. So this is kind of what, again, I've kind of said before in the past, which is it's malpractice if Tom Fitzgerald doesn't take the phone calls, right? If he says, I'm not taking phone calls on Jack Hughes, that's one thing, right? But a guy in Dougie Hamilton who's coming off 2 back-to-back years with pretty decent-sized injuries. One, he missed basically the entire season. Last year, he missed about 19 games, 18 games. So, there's this sense of which Dougie are you getting? Are you getting Dougie that was at the beginning of this contract, the guy that chose Jersey? He was the first big fish to pick Jersey. He signs that massive deal. Are you getting that guy with the slap shot who's awesome on the power play? Is just another absolute weapon for New Jersey to be able to use? Or are you getting the guy the last couple years who's been hurt, and then he comes back and he doesn't really look the same, and he's not playing the same, and it's very frustrating. So trying to figure out which Dougie you're going to get. So the Devils have to take these phone calls. The question is going to come down to, are they actually going to do it? And, one of the reporters for the team, James Nichols, said this. He's always put this out there about a potential Dallas deal, right? And what that would include could potentially be a return of Jason Robertson, who we know is trying to negotiate with Dallas, trying to get a new deal. Their cap space is running very, kind of iffy there in terms of all the guys that they're going to have to give contracts to and length and all this stuff. So, but Robertson, I believe, is at $7 or $7.5 million for next season. So the salary caps are comparable. And Dallas is looking for a top right shot defenseman, which Dougie would immediately slot into. So, but I did, see this fan reaction to some of this news, in saying that if you trade Dougie Hamilton, it must mean two things. You believe one or both of Shimon Nemec and Seamus Casey are ready for the NHL, right? We talked about that a little bit in the Nemec video that I did the other day, where there's a belief that he could break out next year, which would be huge for New Jersey, because then they could move off of Dougie's contract. Or two, right? This is a and, not an or statement by this fan. You're bringing in a legit top 6 forward. Trading your top offensive right-handed defenseman just to clear cap space is malpractice. And I agree. But again, if the return is Robertson, you have to like that deal for New Jersey. And then I believe if he's at 7.5, Dougie's at 9, right? That gives the Devils, an extra $2 million. They're just under 7. That would put them closer to 9. They need to sign Luke Hughes to an extension, which Tom Fitzgerald has said is his top priority now. And their talks are expected to resume any moment because the holiday is over. The 4th of July is over with. So the Devils will get into that. But that's a whole, that's a multi-step, multi-layer kind of issue. Focusing on the issue at hand is the idea of trading Dougie Hamilton. And I have to say, I'm in agreement with this tweet right here. These two the premise of the statement, both premises, I'm all game with 100%, right? One of these guys got to be ready to go, right? Because they got to step in. The Devils can't be looking to find a defenseman elsewhere. And you got to bring in a legit top 6 forward to pair with Jack Hughes. That's what the Devils have needed. That's what they've been seeking. They just don't have the cap space right now to make it work. This is a way to get under that. I've also said you got to trade Andre Palat, but we'll see how that continues to unwind as the offseason continues to go. So, again, is trading Dougie Hamilton my first priority? Absolutely not. However, if the Devils can do it and they can get a top 6 forward, without question, they need to take the phone call. They need to be serious about the phone calls, and they need to consider it, okay? Because the Devils and their fan base need, this jumpstart. And again, I'll go back to, I keep saying it, right? Tom Fitzgerald said that this team is going to look different next year because what happened last year was unacceptable. Well, when you have a bunch of re-signs, right? They have brought in, a couple NHL guys, right? They've had some AHL guys that they've brought in, but they have a couple new faces. But when your biggest acquisitions of the offseason are re-signing Jake Allen, re-signing Luke Hughes, right? Re-sign, that's not really making the team look different. So it's going to be very interesting to follow as the Devils offseason continues to go. And again, I want your passion and your information on this. What do you see as the most likely scenario? I think, we've covered this topic a good amount. What, at this moment in time, as we sit here in early July, what is your gut instinct? Does Dougie get traded or does he not? I want you to leave us a comment, okay? I know you guys are very vocal in the comments. Appreciate it, okay? And, I do have to say, we did get a comment, about that Nate Bastian was left off the subtraction list. Total miss on my part, okay? He is definitely a subtraction, okay? So he is not coming back to New Jersey, which is good for all parties involved, okay? So I just wanted to clear the air on that. But again, I urge you to continue to subscribe to the channel. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We need your help. Help us get there. And leave us a comment. What do you think? Again, that's my question to you. Comment on this video. At this moment in time in early July, does Dougie get traded or does he stay in New Jersey? What is your gut reaction? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate everybody listening, watching, however you're consuming this content. We thank you wherever you're consuming this content. It's just tremendous, and Aiden and I appreciate the support that you guys give this channel, and we want to continue creating the best product for you moving forward. And again, hopefully we've got some good news coming up for you. So we'll see. And of course, if the Devils sign Luke Hughes, we'll be hopping on here immediately. So, or anybody else for that matter, if they make a big trade, something like that. We'll always be here for you on Devils Digest, bringing you the latest, greatest Devils content. So thank you, and we'll catch you next time on Devils Digest.